Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Laura Young. I'm the Director for Enrollment Management for the UCLA School of Arts and Architecture. And this is one of our panels for our admitted students for the class of 2026. So all of our students who are going to be hopefully joining us in fall of 2022. And this is just a time for us to be able to gather and to talk. Although I will be honest, as we are recording this, we do not have any admitted students here physically, like in real time with us, but we are recording this and we're going to be answering some very commonly asked questions, some updates from the departments so that anybody who is watching later can also have the same information, because we want you, whether you choose this or not, we want you to be able to have the most up-to-date and the most relevant and the most important information for you to make the best choice for you by May 1st, no matter what that may be. We hope that you choose us, but if you don't, then that's okay too. And we wish you a lot of success no matter where you go. But I would like my friends and colleagues to introduce themselves. We have some current faculty and also students from the art department who are going to be chatting with us today. So let's start with Kathy.
Hi, my name is Opie, and I'm the chair here at the art department at UCLA. And I'm especially grateful to welcome you and hope that you do choose us. I have been teaching for 24 years at UCLA. My medium is predominantly photography, but as chair, my most unfortunate thing is that I don't get to work with undergraduate students, but I have this little thing in the morning called Coffee with Kathy. So come on by and have a cup of coffee with me. And I also am trying to plan a welcome kickball game because, you know, I have a huge history as a camp counselor. So we want to do collective activities like that. The students are laughing. But why UCLA? I mean, there's a reason why I've been here for 24 years, and that is that I think it's probably one of the more phenomenal departments to ever teach in. We love our undergraduate students so much that we often say, wow, they even blow our grad students away. But, you know, true and not true. And the other thing is that it's an interdisciplinary school. So the ability for you to experiment in relationship to medium and the kind of world-renowned faculty that you get to work with as an undergraduate student is unprecedented in my mind. And so welcome and things to think about. And I'm going to pass it off to my wonderful vice chair who's in charge of undergraduates, Patty Wickman.
Great. Thanks, Kathy. So I'm Patty Wickman. I've been teaching here since 1985, actually, so for quite a long time, and have watched the program change in remarkable ways. I think this is such an exciting time to be here. I teach painting and drawing. That's my focus. And then I'm also vice chair and director of undergraduate education in the program. And I'll come back and talk about some further features of the program, but should we pass it to the students or?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Anna, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Anna Belcher. I'm a third-year fine arts major, and I went to high school in Culver City, California.
Great.
Hi, I'm Colby Golightly. I'm a first-year art student, and I went to high school in Texas, in North Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Great. And hi, everybody. My name is Caron Cronin, and I am the advisor for undergraduate and graduate students in the Department of Art. I work with both populations and especially love working with undergraduate students.
I can also just say hi quickly. My name is Claudia Mayos. I'm the Assistant Director for Enrollment Management in the School of the Arts and Architecture at UCLA.
Great. Thank you, Claudia. You know, I thought that it might be helpful just to give a really brief overview, as brief as I can make it, overview of the structure of the art major for those of you who might not be familiar with it. Our undergraduate program includes required courses in all of the studio areas. So when you come in, you're coming in as an art major. That means you're taking classes in drawing, in painting, sculpture, ceramics, photography, new genre, and then a year-long sequence in global modernism. Really covers the development of modernist ideas and artwork relative to global events going on in culture, in society, in politics. It's kind of like an art history class, but it is geared specifically for our art majors to give them a really strong grounding. So all of our art majors have familiarity with and proficiency in all of those studio areas, and they are introduced to that in the first couple of years. Simultaneously, they are taking undergraduate courses in across campus, what we call our general education or GE courses. And those range from foundations of historical analysis to society and culture to scientific inquiry. That goes hand in hand with some of the undergraduate lower division courses in the art major. At the upper division level, and when I'm talking about upper division, I'm talking really about your junior and senior years here, you are still taking a breadth of advanced studio areas, but you have the opportunity to take more courses in particular areas of study that you gravitate to. So students are taking courses, again, in drawing, painting, photo, new genre, sculpture, ceramics, and interdisciplinary studio as well. But as a student, you know, you have had the opportunity to explore all of those areas. You might feel like you kind of are geared more towards sculpture and installation and performance, and less so to some other areas. And another one of your classmates may be really gravitating more toward painting and drawing and printmaking. All of those are opportunities within the art major. We do require that you cover a breadth of at least 4 different areas, but you have the opportunity to take more focused coursework in all of those areas. Students also are completing art history coursework as part of their art major studies. We have a course called Survey of Critical Thought that students are taking. Their elective courses might be independent studies with some of our amazing faculty. Kathy and Patty, I know, have both worked with students on a one-on-one basis. All of our other faculty have as well for their elective requirements. And then students are also taking courses outside of the art program. Students are completing upper division non-major coursework. A fair number of our students are doing double majors. We have even had students doing triple majors, not so common, but it happens. And of course, minors across campus. So there are a lot of opportunities here being part of a university setting and being in the art major here, also a part of the School of Arts and Architecture. Maybe we could just start kicking it off, and I definitely want to hear from Anna and Colby soon, but I thought, Patty, maybe you could tell us a little bit about some of the undergraduate classes you are teaching and have taught recently. Sure. And I know it's painting and drawing, but really, what are students doing and talking about when they're taking a painting class or a drawing class?
Yeah, so in the last year, I've taught both beginning drawing and advanced painting. And in the beginning drawing class, you know, a lot of you will come in already with some drawing experience, but it's not certain that everyone will. And so I always cover basic kind of formal and technical issues in drawing at the very beginning so that I know that everybody is on the same page. And but we do it in interesting ways through series of different kinds of assignments and through trying different materials. It's really important to me. I love drawing so much, and imparting kind of that excitement about the materials and the activity is really significant to me. And then about midway throughout the quarter, we switch a little bit more, and you would begin doing more kind of personal assignments and developing ideas in relationship to drawing. And I always teach beginning drawing classes with a lot of references to different artists who have worked both across history and then contemporary artists too. We have critiques in the beginning drawing class. There are a lot of assignments, so weekly assignments, and you get an opportunity to learn how to talk about the work of your peers and to have a dialogue and conversation with them about their work. And then at the advanced level, like in the advanced painting classes I've been teaching, students have their own studios within the advanced painting classrooms. So you get to have your own studio for an entire quarter, which is really a wonderful way to develop your relationship with the medium and to understand what it is that you want to say within painting. You've already had a beginning painting class, at least one beginning painting class at that time. And the advanced painting classes allow us to focus more on each person's individual interests. We do readings as a group and talk about them, and often bring speakers in, and again, have a lot more kind of in-depth critiques twice a quarter instead of every week. So it's a slightly different focus, and those classes include people who've had one advanced painting class perhaps before or none, as well as people who are really focused on painting. So there's an interesting, I think, dialogue that develops. You get to know the work of people at all different levels, and interests in painting at the advanced painting level.
And one of the things you guys should know about the studio classes is that they meet twice a week and they're 4 hours. So you have 8 hours with instructors, but of course you're doing your work outside of class as well. But that's the kind of amazing ability, is it's twice a week and you become really part of a community that's in dialogue with one another.
Yeah, I think that brings up some really important things to convey to our admitted students that maybe we haven't already. This is a relatively small major. You think about the size of UCLA, there are about 215 students in the art major, and your classes are very small, especially thinking about, you know, coming into UCLA, major research institution, a huge school. You're in a class with 15, 17 students. So you really do get to know one another, and you get to know your instructors, and you get to know your TAs who are graduate students in the program. Patty, I think one thing that you mentioned that I also kind of want to bring up is when you're coming in and like to a beginning drawing class, bear in mind, you know, there are all of the students admitted to this program are demonstrated really an outstanding vision with their work, familiarity with the material, but beyond that, just a sense of investigation and exploration with the work. And the faculty who all reviewed your portfolios, they really respond to that. They are excited about you coming into the classes, and maybe drawing is not familiar to you, but they know you to be a serious, ambitious, talented investigator, explorer of art, and in whatever the medium might be. And there may be a classmate of yours who's provided a portfolio of nothing but drawings. But you're coming into this class, into a community, into an environment where you're sharing ideas, you're sharing your experiences in work, and also at the lower division level, there is some technical, or more than some, it really is about also learning the material, the technical aspects of it. The upper division courses, alongside developing those ideas and exploring those ideas, the upper division courses tend to be a little bit more self-directed. Would you is that your?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I would say with photography, when I was doing advanced photography classes, I think that one of the things that you might notice when you look at the course offerings is like beginning and advanced. but in terms of all the faculty, we changed that thematically too. So it might seem like advanced painting over and over again, but each time you take it, depending on if it's a lecturer coming into the department for only a quarter or one of us who teach her full time, that those things do change, that it is a constant flow of information and also reflects of what's happening with any given moment within contemporary art as well.
Yeah, really good point. Anna, let's hear from the students too. And Anna, as a third year, how has your work evolved over the time that you've been here? And I understand that part of that time was during COVID, so you might have been working from home, but really, what kind of work did you come into the program doing, and how has your work changed, and what kind of classes are you taking outside of art?
Yeah, I think coming into this program, my art was really centralized of what little I knew about the world, mostly focused on myself and what was around me. So being able to take, the global modernism class where you're like learning about, the art world globally and just the different things that have happened in terms of, development of different art, forgetting the word, different fields of art. Also taking different classes like astronomy or interracial dynamics allowed me to just think about what's happening around me and how I could reflect that into my own artwork. So since my work kind of revolves around myself and my family, I was able to apply my understanding of, I guess, the implications of things of representation and social constructionism in the classes that I've taken pertaining to my minor in African American studies. And I think now I'm able to really consider what I'm taking in and put that into my artwork as well. So it's really helped me. In terms of having to do my work during COVID, I think the faculty went about it really well. They gave us a space to discuss what was going on, but also tied into the coursework and let us express ourselves in a way that I think was really beneficial. So.
Yeah, that's great. So at this point, you have completed all of the lower division or more introductory level courses in each one of the subject areas. Do you find yourself kind of gravitating more towards certain media over others, or still exploring a range of media with your work?
I'm still focused on painting and drawing, but I do really appreciate being able to take other types of forms of art because it's allowed me to take a breath and really be able to enjoy it instead of regarding the art making process as something laborious or draining. So I really appreciated that aspect of it.
Great. So Colby, as a first year student, here we are in your third quarter, you're exploring a few different subject areas. Where do you see your interest headed with the art major? What are you thinking about for the coming years?
So the first quarter at UCLA, I took new genres, and new genres really, I think I'd never experienced anything like that class in relation to art and creating art. So I thought that was really interesting, and I really focused my work more on new genres. And I came in as more of a painting drawing person, and that's how my art practice has been since forever. But it's what I really like about UCLA and what I really enjoy about this school is that you're given the ability to explore all of these media, and new genres really has opened an entire new door for me to explore my art practice. And that, in conversation with other courses that you take at UCLA, I think is really important. The dialogue between the art major and any other kind of classes that you take for GEs or anything else, really there's a dialogue that you can put in between all of the classes and put that into your art practice and make it important to yourself and your art making.
That's great. For those of you who might not know, Colby, could you explain what new genre is? What kind of work that is, or what it describes?
Yes. So new genres is really it consists of video art, experimental artwork, performance work. Um, the way that I explain it to my friends is normally like anything that isn't painting, drawing, photography, or like like I mean, but it can consist of that though, which is really interesting. It's very free form, and that's what I really enjoy about it, is that there is no exact definition as to what it is.
Got it. Okay. Well, let's hear from our faculty again. I think one thing, we're admitting such talented students, and congratulations to you, Anna and Colby. You're here, you're part of an amazing community, and to all of you who might be watching, we're really looking forward to working with you. There's a difference between being an art major in a university versus being an art major at, or studying, painting or drawing or, photography in an art school. And for our faculty, what does that mean to you? I mean, why is that important? Is that important to you? How does that come across in the classes that you're teaching and in the way that you teach?
Yeah, I'll open with that. I think it's really important for me. I actually am a product of art school. So I got my bachelor's degree at San Francisco Art Institute in the 80s, and then I got my master's degree from Cal Arts in 1988. And so being a product of art school, I always looked at the research university as an artist as like, oh, I didn't really get good grades. I'm not really university material. Like I had a lot of fear of my own inability through dyslexia and other kind of issues that I've had in terms of learning disabilities. And it always seemed like it was out of reach for me, this idea of a university, and especially a research university. But I ended up being a professor both here at WashU in St. Louis as well as at Yale. And those, I've actually never experienced teaching in an art school, even though I'm a product of it. I've only taught at research universities. And I would say that the importance is that it allows you to have a lot more information experimentation within the overall school. That when I was at art school, like I knew that I wanted to be a photographer and I just did photography. And I don't feel that I got to take other classes or other ideas of certain histories that I wanted to explore. And that a research university has such a tight, as Caron was saying, such a tight community of artists here, but the vastness of the university in terms of who you can also connect with and learn from are really amazing opportunities, in my opinion. So I prefer a research university over just an art school in that way.
Yeah. I think it's interesting what Anna was saying about, taking classes in other departments and having a relationship to your studio practice, and your minor having that relationship, and just the way that kind of ideas can percolate, as you're talking about art. Having the experience of having those other classes gives you so much more to be thinking about and to be digesting, and then it naturally means that your art practice, what you're doing in an art class, it of course is about making and making artwork, but it's also about talking about really complex ideas and being analytical and critical and articulating things that are kind of confusing and evolving and changing. So I'm bringing this up to get to a point, and I want to come back to some of the resources that we have for undergraduate students, like the exhibitions and all of that. But I also, I want to hear from all of you and the faculty about, what does it mean to be studying art here? And really, what goals as faculty, Patty and Kathy, what goals do you have for your students, in their studies, and what they will take with them in whatever they might do after they leave UCLA?
Yeah, why don't you go first on this one?
Well, I think that, the process of making art requires one to really be aware of your own concerns, what's really important to you. And it focuses you in a way that I think is really important, and being involved in a community of artists too, who are developing their own ideas and being able to talk about each other's work and build up a supportive community is really important. As an artist, when you get out of school, those people that you've gone to school with and had a relationship with can make a huge difference. And it's interesting for me to hear students talking this year, those students who are leaving, who are seniors and graduating, and how important their community is, and their plans to try to make that sustaining after they get out of school is really interesting to hear. I mean, they're all very committed to that.
Yeah, I follow up with Patty on that. That community is one of the most important aspects of any school, in my opinion. It's who you are surrounded by, who you're influenced by, not only your professors or other teachers, but also really the cohorts. Those are the relationships that you carry on outside. But studying art, in my opinion, and it is so vacillates in between. It's a social practice. It's also a personal practice. It can be political. It can be non-political. But I like to talk to students about what are the most important questions in your own mind about what it is to be living in this world. What is it to be a part of society? What is it to think about even being a citizen? And which is different in relationship to building community. And I think that if you kind of begin with a series of questions that you ponder upon, you end up finding work that you're able to make. And this is how I make my own work as an artist, that begin to answer those questions. And I think that's a really easy, basic way to begin to think about the kind of conversations and discourses that you can actually participate in on a larger level within UCLA.
Yeah, that's great. Colby and Anna, do you want to add to this conversation, to this thread? What happens in your art classes? What are you doing in your art classes? What are you talking about when you're talking about art? or take it from there and say whatever you would like to say.
So I guess I'll start. A lot of my classes have been really, I think the professors that I've had have always tried to like personalize our experience when we were creating work. So they always try to push us to ask those questions about what we're making, why we're making it, especially in the beginning classes. To really like strengthen our practice and give us like a ground to hold on. And I think like a lot of what I've learned too is also to question the media that we're using and like question how that can reflect the ideas that you're bringing into the work. And I think that's really important. That's what I've been learning in my classes a lot of. Yeah.
Cool. And Anna, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
I guess from
please.
my own experience, something I found to be very important is like feeding off of, I guess, the vibes of the class, like not necessarily focusing on yourself too much, but also considering like what's happening with your fellow students. I think that's really helps as well, like this idea of transparency and giving yourself up to the room and letting the room give itself to you. Because, I feel like in terms of creating, sometimes you can become a little too focused on yourself, and then you have this one-track mind, and you're not able to, I guess, reach your full potential in terms of like really engaging with matters that are important in life, in the world, and specifically being able to take classes. Recently, I took Patty's advanced painting class with the focus on race, gender, and sexuality, and just being able to take what I know and then listen from what my fellow classmates are saying, and just from the readings and the different talks about it as well. It's been very valuable for me. So that's something I really been enjoying as an art major.
Thank you. That's
I have
great.
a question for you guys, for the students, if that's okay, if I can ask it. How
Definitely.
do the conversations extend for you within the community outside of the classroom? Like, what does that look like in terms of like continuing to find people that you vibe with, so to speak, and how are those conversations continuing for you as a collective? Because we as teachers see it in the classroom, but we don't know what you guys do outside of the class. So it's a curiosity question too.
I mean, for me, it's more like I'll start talking to like either different family members or friends about like little things that we've discussed in class, and then they'll open up to me and kind of talk about it. And it's something like I never really would have thought that was in there. It's something they were considering, and then conversations are formed, and then they teach me about something, and I teach them about something, and then it kind of branches off into everything else. So.
Yeah, I have the same experience too, and I find it like talking to my friends here at UCLA that are in different majors. I think they enjoy having these kinds of conversations like that extend out of the classroom. And most of my friends are STEM majors, and I feel like they have this like need to be super analytical and have like an ABC answer, like only one is correct. And I feel like in humanities classes we differ because we are given an opinion. Like you give your opinion, and that can be an answer. And that's like the beauty of it, I think, is that we get to have this dialogue about like really anything, and like important conversations that should be being had. And I think it's really interesting. This is like, it's only my first year here, and I think it's really cool to have these kinds of conversations with people, and like have people understand like different points of view in a way.
Mhm.
And also like going back home to Texas and talking to my friends that are either still in high school or go to different universities, I think that it's also really interesting to see the different perspectives of other universities too, and like the way that they're teaching their coursework, and how we reflect on each other in a way, but also we are somewhat different too.
Cool. We have a few more minutes, and I think one thing that I want to be sure to cover in this is talking about some of the other opportunities that we offer. We've talked a lot about the art classes themselves, but there are, as I was saying earlier, independent studies is an option with our faculty. But aside from that, the exhibition opportunities that you have, the student initiated shows that are going on in the undergraduate gallery downstairs in the building during COVID, on Instagram, the juried show that we offer, some of those other opportunities, and really what it means to be studying art at UCLA in Los Angeles in a really active and dynamic environment and community. Patty and Kathy, do you want to talk a little bit about that? And then Colby and And Anna, if you want to think about it for a minute and come back to you, if there are exhibitions that you have been a part of, or if you've explored some of those other opportunities, museums, things like that, we want to hear about that too. But let's start with Kathy and Patty.
No, there's a lot of opportunities. I mean, you are moving to one of the more vibrant contemporary art scenes in the United States. There are always artists coming through. We try to tap those artists. There's public offerings in relationship to the Hammer Museum as part of UCLA, which is contemporary art, which also offers internship potential and or employment for students. There's also the Fowler Museum here on campus, and the constant kind of artists that are coming through in terms of talking. You can have a talk to go to every night of the week here in Los Angeles if you decide to just do that. The other aspect is that beyond going out and experiencing both gallery and museum shows in Los Angeles, which are huge, there is, you end up like trying to figure out your own exhibitions while you're here as an undergraduate, and there's student run things. And we also have finally the first UCLA sanctioned club, which is the Art Collective, the Art Club, which I think Colby, you're a member of, if I remember correctly. I don't know, Anna, if you are or not. But that's becoming a really important initiative. We're also beginning to open up more undergraduate exhibition space here, because we know that that's needed. That getting to an exhibition is the place that all artists try to get to for the most part. And yeah, you're part of an amazing community here in LA.
Yeah, with some of the student exhibitions, one thing that I think has been interesting to see recently is a lot of the, we do it by a lottery system, and some of the students who have, won the lottery and have a week to show their work have done group exhibitions where they invite all of the people, their cohorts of people that they are in communication with and have an affinity with. And so those have become interesting shows. I mean, there is this, I think, this really communal spirit among the undergrads and wanting to have sustained dialogue. So.
And if you hear pounding in the background, it's ceramics below us. And we haven't even talked about the facilities yet that you get to work at, which are amazing. So, but if you wonder, I'm going to get up and close the window.
And I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to hear from our colleagues there in enrollment management. Laura, I know you have a question for Patty and for Kathy and for everybody.
Yeah, I do. And I mean, Patty and Kathy and Caron know, but Anna and Colby, I was an art major too in the department a long time ago. And so, and part of, and I do a lot of interfacing with the prospective students, Claudia and myself, and, a lot of the questions that some of the questions that we field are around like, why art instead of design? Because especially now that the pandemic, everyone's like, oh my God, design, that's the way that I can be creative and like make money. And sure, yes, like there are tremendous opportunities in design. I have my own explanations about like why art, because I myself deliberately chose fine arts over design when I was, in my college search. But I would like to hear from all of you in terms of like, how do you, envision the relationship, or if any, like the relationship between the training and like what you envision yourself doing, and like what kind of, like how you see yourself sort of navigating postgraduate life. And then for Kathy and for Patty and for Caron also, kind of what is sort of the breadth and depth of all of those experiences, like what it means to have a fine arts academic degree. Mm-hmm. Big question in like 2 minutes.
I know, big question. Why art versus design? That's a very interesting thing. I think that it actually is more in relationship to one's own personal aspirations of what they want to produce and what they want to make versus a client. I am an artist who also does editorial work as well as shoots fashion from time to time. And it's very funny to go to a set and it's very design oriented where they'll have one of my photographs, but they'll all of a sudden put a Prada purse in it. And it's like, but you know, I'm not quite doing that, but that's their idea of design. It's like, well, be you, but you have to shoot it like this. I personally like to have an enormous amount of control over my ideas. And I think that that is a real simple difference between design and art for me, is that it is self-directed in my own interests.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that entirely. And I think this idea too, and Kathy alluded to it earlier, of really understanding, I think art is this amazing tool to understand yourself and your place within the world and culture. And after having made art for a long period of time, how that changes throughout one's life. I think it's, to me, it's really fascinating. It's such a gift to be able to have that kind of depth of experience over an extended period of time, and to be making the decision, your own decisions about what it is that you want to spend time exploring and doing as an artist.
I think it keeps you young, keeps you enthusiastic,
Mm-hmm.
and it keeps you curious. And if you can be curious in life, that's the best thing.
There definitely is a curiosity. I've heard it from both of our students here on this panel, the way Colby is talking about, you know, asking the questions, and the answer there isn't one answer. And giving yourself that room to explore the dynamic of the investigation, the power of that investigation. That's huge. That exploration is really powerful and important, and I think it is different from something where, you know, you're trying to get to an end goal. This also, you know, I'm talking about maybe a design field where you know, that is maybe client driven, that has a specific kind of end goal communication of a specific idea or something. With the art practice, and hearing what Colby and Anna are both talking about, like being open to those kinds of ideas, allowing them to kind of you know, macerate in your head and grow and communicate. And there's a lot of complexity in that, and having that skill to kind of investigate that complexity is really meaningful. Colby and Anna, let's hear from you. That was a lot of words, but I'm sure you can get to it much faster.
Yeah, I guess to sum it up, it's like a release. It's like, you know, taking what's inside and like letting it out. And I feel like it's easier to do it with fine art than with, you know, media or digitally or anything like
Mm-hmm.
I really liked what Kathy was saying with how design is like more self-driven, and I think that that's like really important to me, and that's why I chose art over design. And how I'm focusing on animation a lot right now, and I really enjoy creating my own stories and creating this entire world for myself, and like figuring things out is really important to me, and like just immersing myself in this practice is really, really important to me. And I think that's like why art is, my opinion, more important to me than design.
Yeah. So we have just maybe one more minute. Any thoughts in closing? Anybody?
I have a closing remark, and that is something that we didn't talk about that much except for TA-ships, of what the graduate students actually bring to this program.
Mm-hmm.
And these are students that are coming from all over the world It also is a small program. There is an entire graduate building in Culver City where Anna went to high school. And we have open studios. The undergraduates and the graduate students are really create another sense of community and dialogue with one another. And it would be short of me not to mention how important that is to our program.
And every undergraduate class has a teaching assistant, one of our amazing grad students that's part of the class, and they're fabulous.
And their work inspires, as well as the undergraduates inspire the grad students. And that is like, that is a symbiotic relationship to a certain extent, even though they're going for a more advanced degree.
Cool. So Laura and Claudia, is there anything you'd like to add in closing as we?
Sure. Well, thank you everybody in the ether for joining us. We hope this has been useful. If after watching you have any questions and want to get in touch with us, if there's any way that we can help you in the next couple of weeks before May 1st, which is my birthday. It's my birthday. Everybody remembers it. It's corny, but it's my birthday. Just go ahead and email us. You can reach me and Claudia at admissions@arts.ucla.edu. That's our email. And we would be happy to help you. But thank you to our students and thank you to our faculty. We very much appreciate you coming here and speaking about our program to be able to help your hopefully future classmates and colleagues and friends.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.